Hello everyone and welcome back to Winter 89 Colors. My name is Melissa and I'm here to share with you today. Well, I guess this is a flip through of sorts, but ultimately it's me wanting to go through this book, Animorphia by Kerby Rosanes, and just have a look at what's going on. I haven't touched this book in a while. Honestly, I lost it for a while. It kind of got shuffled into the back of the pile and underneath some other books and things, and ultimately, I kind of forgot about it. I know I still have a buddy color whip in here, and I apologize to my buddy that I kind of forgot about it, but we can get back to it if you'd like. But anyways, I wanted to go through this and just maybe get some inspiration, maybe look at some of the whips I have in here and see if I can get back to it. I have a ton of whips in here. So the reason I wanted to do this book today is A, because I forgot about it, like I said, but B, also because it was one of my first real adult coloring books. I had a couple of Joanna Basford's and this book to start with. And I mean, this book kind of holds a special place in my heart. It's very doodly, and there's a lot of those, you know, draw your own things in here, but nevertheless, I still want to get a lot done in this book. I eventually one day would like to try to finish it. The only other problem is that this book in particular, this publication this year, is known for falling apart here in North America. This particular edition is supremely bad for it, and you'll see that as we go through that there are barely any pages that are still together. I haven't decided if I want to try to bind it. The problem with binding it is that the pages go right to the very edge of the paper, so binding it means I have to cut off a little bit of the edge of the image, and that's that hurts me a little bit. So I don't know if maybe I want to just get a photo album or something that I can put it in. Anyway, all right, let's get into the flip through. So, Animorphia by Kerby Rosanes. So this, I hate that this little beginning image, hate and love that it is just a duplication of one of the middle images, a little bit smaller and only part of the image, but it's going to be hard for me to want to color this again. I may just do something like go over it with water mediums and just do a wash over top of it, just in random colors or something like that, just to get the page colored, even if I don't want to color it properly, because I'll be doing it properly sometime in the middle of the book. But anyway, so as you can see, let's start on this page here. I started this one, but then, and this is in pencil, but I eventually ended up just erasing it as best I could. So eventually I want to go back and do this page. I actually quite like it. It's very cute with all the little animals and things. And even though it's kind of doodly, it's more cartoony than doodly. And I don't know, I feel like I could probably do it. So we will get back to that one eventually. This was one of the first pages in here that I did complete. I blacked out the background with a Posca pen. If you look closely, I doubt you can see it on camera, but in real life you can see kind of the streaks from the pen, because this was back in my very early days. And Posca pen seemed like the best option. The outside is a gold paint. I probably could go over it one more time with another coat to make it a little less streaky, but it is what it is. The rest was done in Prisma. I have a few glitter paints and homemade glitter glues put on here to try and create that fun little shine. But yeah, so that was the first one I did. I'm glad that it's finished and it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So the information pages, obviously I haven't touched. Again, those are just going to be kind of pieces that I probably just pick away at some point. This one, I like the idea of it. I like the idea of doing opposites. So if we do cool colors on this side, warm colors on this side, or something like that, that's kind of what I would like to do here. But again, I have so many other whips that I don't really want to start anything new in here right now. This was a whip that I started with experimenting for the first time, I think, with watercolor pencils. So my first set of watercolor pencils was Prismacolor. I got just a small set of Prismacolor water pencils, and I did these horses with those, and they're okay. They turned out, you know, all right for what it was. The rest, all these waves and stuff, I did in a very, very cheap watercolor watercolor paint, like Michael's brand or something like that. So I'll probably use pencils or something else to go over and try to fix it up. I don't know, I was just in the mood to splash something on, and it looks awful, obviously, but I think it's fixable, to be honest. So I'm hoping that I can go back over it and, you know, clean it up, make it look purposefully messy because of all the waves and whatnot. So it's salvageable. It's got a mark in here still. I should probably replace that, actually. It's been really run down over the years. So I've got to throw that one out. This one's a used, I try to reuse my stickies whenever I can, because I mean, it's a lot of waste otherwise, right? So this one's obviously been used. I put some whiteout on it, but it's much more sturdy and sticky, so hopefully that'll stay for a little while. So this is the one that's on that front page. It's been flipped, reversed, largened, whatever. Again, a lot of doodles. I really struggle with all these doodles, but I still do want to do it eventually. Maybe with a limited palette. This one's nice. Fun to work on the background if we want to work on some background work. It's, you know, got a lot of potential for bright, fun colors, and there's slightly less doodles in here. Like, yeah, it's all doodly, but it's not as intimidatingly doodly because it's sort of concentrated in certain areas, which is nice. And in here, we've got this nice mountain goat. Probably just do, again, some patterns in here, maybe use some stencils or just do some different blend, you know, ombre washes or things like that. Again, huge potential in the background and a limited number of doodles. So definitely a lot of potential in this page as well. Here's one I finished and I'm pretty happy with. This was all Prismacolor, including the neons. Those are all Prismacolor neons. The background was my first attempt at using stamping ink. I used a stencil and stamping ink. In some areas, you can see it kind of got onto the lighter colors. Like you can see it bled onto this giraffe a little bit, onto the geese and stuff, and on this pelican, but it's not too bad. You can't really notice unless you're really looking for it. So that's kind of nice. It turned out really, really well. And I'm ultimately happy with this because it was, again, one of my really early pages. So you'll notice that some of my pages that are completed or whips have wax paper in between and others don't. The ones that don't, I've sealed them extremely well using an acrylic sealer, so I'm not worried about them transferring at all. Back when I had money, I had spray-on acrylic sealer, and that really, really helped to, there's no texture on this page whatsoever. It just feels like clean, slick acrylic paint, realistically, so that's nice. So this one is a whip. So this half is finished. I finished it around Halloween time last year, I believe. I wanted it to be very autumny, and this one I want to be very springy. So as an opposite, I'm working on it, and I've got all my colors written down here, as you can see on this post-it, and I want to finish this guy off, try to make him nice and bright and springy, and I think that that'll be really nice as a contrast. So that one is one we got to work on, and I have pastel in the background here, so obviously it's not sealed because I'm still working on it. So again, this one will just be a play around page. I'll probably just use stencils or whatever to fill these out. A nice doodly one, but the doodles are quite large in this one, so I'm not so intimidated by it. I feel like it might actually be some fun to work on. What intimidates me more is actually these patterned horns, so I don't know if I'll wash those or if I will actually fill them in with glitter gel pen or something. I'm not sure, but I am actually looking forward to doing this one eventually. I've looked at it a few times. This one was an experiment with oil pastel. I was using oil pastel and mineral spirits just to play around with the colors and the mixing, and obviously it's not super lovely looking at the moment, but I think it is in fact salvageable. So eventually I do want to get back to this one, but it's probably going to be a lot of acrylic paint and whatnot to cover all the bits of oil and stuff. I mean, I can probably wash a lot of it out using mineral spirits, but we shall see. That is for a future me problem. I'm going to replace the tag in this one again. I'm not going to use that one. Let's use this one again. These are all used tags. I'm just recycling them. Okay. This one I'm looking forward to as well. Again, minimal on the doodles, and we can do whatever we want in these guys. Might just paint them a solid gold or something and just do a little bit of detailing on the feathers. Who knows? But again, totally doable. I'm not that intimidated by it. This one was an experiment with soft pastels when I first got them. I was obviously very messy with them, didn't know what I was doing. But again, because it's soft pastel, that's pretty easy to fix. So I'm not too worried about going in and, you know, cleaning up the edges and putting in some shading and whatnot. I think it'll be fine eventually when I feel like it. This guy was, again, an experiment in oil pastels. So I painted everything obviously black with acrylic paint that is black. And then I used oil pastels to create this rainbow effect. And I put some clear glitter paint over top of Kerby's doodles to accent and highlight them so we can still see them. And even though it's sealed with that acrylic sealer, I still put the wax paper in here because I feel like this acrylic paint still is, you know, it's catching little bits of dust and debris. So I still keep this in here to help try to protect it. I may eventually have to repaint it to get rid of all this debris that's kind of going on here, but that's okay. No biggie. This page is a nice one too. I've thought about doing it as well, but it's very wintry, so I may save it for the winter season, try to do something with it at that point with nice cool colors and lots of glitter and everything, but definitely a doable page. The more I look at Kerby's work in this book, the less intimidated I am by his doodles. They can be worked with. This one I did a little bit more recently. I'm not 100% sure when. It might have been early this year or late last year, and I'm really, really happy with it. So I based the fish with Albrecht Dürer and then used polychromos over top to do all of the major shading. And the background is entirely Prismacolor. Yeah, that's a lot of Prismacolor. My purples are a lot lower now than they used to be. I mean, it's not a color I use that often, so I never thought I'd have to replace them as much as I did after this, but for sure. And you'll notice I went opposite. So we've got the warm fish here, we've got the cool purples in the background, cool fish here, warm purples in the background. And then all the doodles and everything are all like different pencils, different gel pens, etc. The clouds are these wisps. I put an iridescent acrylic over top of them to give them a little bit of shine, and then there's jelly roll glaze on the eyes. Yeah, I like that page. I think it's sealed, but I still keep it. I'm keeping that in there anyway because it's a really nice page. I like it. This one, I tried my artistic skills and drew in a bunch of bats as Kerby had requested, and I went over them with Posca, so they're okay. I mean, they're not great. Obviously, I'm not a big drawer, but the page is done. Used a copper paint in the background, coppery orange, kind of Halloween-y. Pretty happy with it. I mean, it is what it is, right? This is another really nice page that I think will be really beautiful when done. Again, it's a little bit autumn-y for me, so maybe in the autumn I'll consider starting it. Again, same with the whales, same with all the other draw-in ones. Doable, but, you know, have to think about what to do in these blank spaces. This one I finished. It was a kind of a quickie one. I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but again, it was when I first got my Albrecht Dürer. No, this was not Albrecht Dürer. This was Prismacolor watercolors, mostly for basing. And then I just did a little bit of Prismacolor pencils for some shading, but mostly it was just the Prismacolor watercolors. The background was cheap Michaels brand watercolors with a sparkle acrylic paint over top to kind of blend it a little bit. So very simple, but it actually turned out pretty effective. I'm pretty happy with it. This one is a Forever Whip. for now, at least. I'm thinking eventually, because this whole background has been done in Artex pencils, and oh boy, it's like, I don't know if I could possibly actually finish this in pencil, so I may have to find a way to cover up the background and do something different with it. It is beautiful, but damn, it's so much work. My wrist was so sore just doing this section here. So I don't know. I don't know, we'll have to see. I do love it though. I think it's turning out great as far as, you know, what it is. Any ideas, folks, let me know. Again, not gonna go over this one too much. It's pretty self-explanatory based on what I've said about other pages like this in the book. Again, I like these mirrored pages and the idea of doing them in opposites. Matching would be nice too, but I think opposites would be pretty cool. Same thing with these as all the other finish the pages. I think we've spoken about, this one is kind of medium doodles, so again, not too bad and intimidating. Not as bad as the cheetah page anyway. I'll get to it eventually. This is the whip that I'm currently most concerned with, and that is because it is a buddy. I believe it was with Tammy Colors 2, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, actually, let me see if I can look it up. Got my coloring journal here. Cindy Peel. It was with Cindy, or no, it was with Tammy. It was with Tammy Colors 2. I'm sorry, Tammy, that I completely lost this book and wasn't able to keep working on this, but I am going to keep doing it. I am going to get back to it. I'm going to make sure it's somewhere where I don't lose it again, and I'll be able to get back into working on it. But I like the way it's going so far. I based it using Albrecht Dürer, and I'm going over the top with polychromos, and the background is first I went over it with regular blue acrylic paint, and then I went over top with several layers of blue iridescent acrylic paint. So it looks really, really nice and fun. I'm excited to keep working on this. Next one is these chameleons, and that was super fun. The chameleons themselves were done entirely with Prismacolor. The background is again cheap watercolor paints. I no longer have them. I threw them out, like they were pretty much done. So I threw them out, and then I went over with clear acrylic mixed in, or no. This was a green glittery Christmas paint. Hold on. Do I still have it here? Yes, I have it here. This is the Glamour Dust Ultrafine Glitter Paint by Deco Art. And I went over with a couple layers of that to make it super glittery. So that was a fun page. This fox turned out fine. I have no color palette whatsoever. Really clashy, but I mean, I got it done, so that's nice. The background was done with charcoal. I went around the edges with just like a black Posca, I think, to clean it up, but I should probably just black out the rest of this, but who cares, whatever. Again, another draw it page. We'll see if I ever get around to it. This one was definitely recent. I enjoyed doing this page quite a bit. The background is obviously acrylic paint. The rest is Albrecht Dürer and polychromos, and a bunch of glitter accents, glitter paints, jelly roll glaze. All the little doodles are done in jelly roll glaze. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out. It was a lot of fun to work on. So, glad I have that one done. I had a fair amount done in here. Another one of these fill it out, finish it up pages. Again, medium and small doodles in this one. I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. Same thing. I've already talked about it. I'm not going to talk about it again. Another mirror page I'm looking forward to doing. I've looked at this one a few times because it is really nice, and I love chickens. I mean, they're roosters, whatever. I am excited to do this one, but again, I'm hesitant to start another one when I've got so many whips in here. This was, I think, the second page that I finished in this book. I was really proud of the way that the dragon turned out. Again, this was one of my first really big goes with Prismacolor. It's all done in Prismacolor. The background is, again, super cheap watercolor paints, the ones I don't have anymore. My attempt at homemade glitter glue here, just to give it a go. Very early days, back when my studio was upstairs. Another fill it in page. I've seen so many people do beautiful, beautiful work with these two pages. Absolutely stunning stuff. And I like that there's lots of big leaves to work on, just a few doodles scattered here and there. Very excited to give this one a go as well. Again, hesitant to start it though. Another whip. It was based originally using the Crayola, or sorry, not Crayola, the Prismacolor watercolor pencils. And I went over it using Prismacolors recently to kind of get it going again and see if I would be able to finish it, because it's a nice simple one. It's really should be easy enough to actually get through once I sit down and really give it a go. Again, welcome any ideas or thoughts on how to proceed with any of these whips. I've seen a lot of people do this one as well. I just saw one from Elm Colors. I thought she did a beautiful job on this. And it gave me some ideas. I'm actually going to write something down here as to what I want to do with mine. She did a lot of blue. She had said it was a mistake because of bleed through from the previous page, but I thought it just looked stunning, all the blue. Because I mean, realistically, these animals, they're not baboons, they're something else, but they're related to baboons. And they have like blue-gray fur, so it didn't look bad to have that blue around it. So I might consider doing a blue palette for this page as well. No idea what I'm gonna do with this. This one stumps me a little bit. I love bees. I think they're beautiful. These look more like hornets or wasps though, but maybe I'll draw some adorable little fluffy bees around the edges. Who knows? This one was a triumph, let me tell you. One day I was feeling uninspired and I just could not bring myself to color, but I wanted to put color down on paper. So I took some Crayola pencils, which I no longer have, but I took some Crayola pencils and just started like picking out the ones that I had the most of, you know, the longest, the least used. And I started doing the background with them, just thinking, oh, I just want to get some color down on paper. I don't care if it looks good. I don't care if I ever finish this page. Well, after working on the background so much, so often, I eventually found it done. So I thought, well, let's finish off the page. So the whole thing was done with Crayola pencils and of course some acrylic accents and white Posca pen, and here we are. The squid is finished and I'm pretty happy with him, amazingly. But man, that background took forever with Crayolas, let me tell you. Again, probably an opposites page. We'll get to it eventually. I like this one too. All the background space should be fun. I don't know if I'll color all these little things or not. I mean, I guess we'll see. They're just simple little guys. Probably gonna color this one because it is still really nice. And then there's just the answer key in the back. Probably won't do anything with that. But that's the end. So that is Animorphia, a book that holds a lot of special place in my heart. So if you're still here, thank you for watching. I appreciate you going through this with me. Let me know if you have any ideas, if you want to do a buddy in here in the future. Tammy, I promise that I will get back to that octopus page eventually, and I'll talk to you about it. Yeah, well, like, subscribe, let me know how you're feeling, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope that you get some wonderful coloring done. Bye for now.